Receive greetings as always. Today, with a very interesting video. A supremely critical issue plus how to know, for example, if the password I use for my email was already leaked. Somewhere, in some of these places where you can get the passwords of emails, many are payment used by cybercriminals because to buy these lists and use them because, unfortunately, people do reuse passwords. Then if you put the same password for your email, for your bank account, etc. Well, you are inviting cybercriminals to commit a crime with you, really. And you are making it too easy for them. So, the tool that we're going to see today allows us to know if the password we use in our email is leaked in any of the large lists of leaks that exist on the internet. It is a tool that allows us to access to multiple services, to multiple consultations. Disadvantages in some cases is that some of these consultations require payment, are not free, and it is very well the work of the people costs, the time of the people costs, and normally we should pay for it. So, we are going to look at how to install this tool to be able to make consultations, and we're going to install a couple of tools. A paid one that I'm going to buy it. It costs very little. It costs around $3.50. It is not so terrible monthly. And another one that is free. And there are many more that you can go, let's say registering. Some are paid, others are free. And well, you will decide which consultation services you want to subscribe to. Then, the tool is called H8 Mail. We have here the address. I'm going to leave this URL in the description. This tool, H8 Mail, allows us to consult different databases where passwords are found that have been leaked, that someone has stolen by an attack, let's say a crime committed against some company, etc. Then you consult in a single tool those databases to find out if your password has been leaked, if someone already has it, if someone knows it, if was stolen, let's say by a criminal, from a site where you have registered. That's what this tool is for, to make that query. If you look here, are the characteristics of the tool. Allows to search by emails, to know if the password of my email was stolen. You do not have to provide the password, you simply provide your email, and the tool consults it. Here, you have, let us say, the different characteristics that has the tool, and well, the query services that it is able to contact. As you can see, there are quite a few. Some of them require API. APIs are basically keys that allow us to connect to a service, authenticate and extract information, make a query, and, well, basically receive information. Let's set up a couple so we can see how the theme works. And here is the help of the tool. Some of the commands that we can use, and well, examples of use. It's pretty simple. So we are going to begin with the installation. As you can see, it can be installed with pip. We are going to copy the command. Inside our Kali. Done then, because I am in my route of the Kali. Because, well, right there I am going to install it. Pip3, install H8 Mail. I should have done it with sudo, in fact. I'm going to do it with sudo. Now. Perfect. As you can see, some requirements are satisfied, and then it is installed. That's it. What is there? Important. This tool has a configuration file that normally has been left inside the same route that we are using. Look, here is H8 Mail config. That file, we would have to configure it if we want to use some of the tools that require API. As for example, you can see that have been pound requires an API. These that have a small key here to the right side means that they have an API. Some are free, others are of payment. We are going to configure a free one, a paid one, that as I was saying is very cheap. It is $3.50. It is not terrible. So well, here is each one of them. If I do not install any API, that is to say if I don't configure anything, it just does a search by an engine. I think the one from Sila, then look how to use the tool. You have to tell it H8 Mail. -t, the target, what we are going to query. And that's it. With that, we would have, I think we don't have to do anything else. Let's look at the examples. Look, here it is. Let's try it. With an email account, like for example, we're going to tell it H8 mail, right? For example, minus T. H8 mail, mail. Was doing a test the other day. Minus, for instance, david.pereira@gmail.com is not my account. But well, it has my name. So look, here it shows us where it searches, connects to. The tool, well, it connects to Scylla, which is a service, Scylla. So it's a service where there are lists of filtered passwords. And well, it determines if there is some kind of filtering. So it tells us no, well, there are simply no results. At least in the Scylla database, the person who owns this email could be calm because his password has not been stolen. At least it is not in a Scylla. Now then, there are many services where we can consult, where you're going to be able to know if someone stole your password. Then as you see, for example, we have the Hunter.io. This is one of the most useful. Then we could click there. This is the public, right? Are we going to go to Hunter? Normally the recommendation is that you create a user. I have a user there, and well, within the products part, then well, we can look for the API. Then, well, here you have the products, you have the prices, resources, etc. Then we're going to look a little bit at the different prices. This is a little bit more expensive tool, but it has a free version, so nothing happens. We can use it. We can go here to the dashboard. And inside the user, you have to go to dashboard. Inside the dashboard, you will be able to see the user you have, and you have the API. As you can see, the API is a list of numbers. I am not going to show you mine. I'm just going to copy it. But well, look, it is a long list of numbers that goes to allow them. Let's say to make the queries. As you can see, the API are a validation that allows me through simple commands and almost that of console, basically of console, to make a query. And that API allows me to prove to the server that I'm a real user, that I'm authenticated, that I have a user, etc. It is as if it were a token, right? That allows us to authenticate ourselves. Well, I'm going to copy it, although it doesn't matter if you see it. It doesn't matter. Then, well, I'm going to take that API, I'm going to copy it, I already copied it. And now we have to configure the file of the tool, is what we have to do. Let me bring you again. The mail tool that we are using. Here it is, the 8 mail. So look, we have to configure the file. How do I do it? Simple. Let's tell it here. We can use nano H8 mail config. That file, as I showed you a moment ago, was inside the folder. Inside the folder where I installed this tool. So look, I installed it on the root. That is why it was there. It is recommended that you make a folder and place it there. But it does not matter. Let's say here, nano H8 mail config, ini. And look here, we have the different services to which we can configure their API. Here I am going to show you mine. Then, look, there is one we are going to delete it. We're going to delete it here. Sorry. We are going to delete this. That was one that was in the file. I think that came by default. I don't know. Maybe I configure it at some point. Then a very important thing. For a service to work, you have to uncomment it. Look here. As you can see, most of them have semicolons at the beginning, right? That means that it's not going to serve. It's not going to be used. You have to remove the semicolon and you have to place the API of the service. There it is. As you see, it brings some of demonstration. I do not know. I'm going to uncomment this link public lookup to see if suddenly that API works for us. These are free. This one that we have is free. You don't need to pay anything. The Hunter.io. So well, let's try it and see what happens. I'm going to save it. X. Yes. Enter. And well, we could run the tool again and see what happens. So look now, it tells us about Sela and makes the query in Hunter. Yes, it made the query in Hunter.io, but didn't find any. In public Hunter.io, didn't find this email at all. Let's configure. Well, look at the Sela here gave us an error. But well, in the end, it is simply that there are no results. It made the query and did not find it. Let's now configure another different API. Let's configure the Have I Been Pwned API. I'm going to open it with a tab here. Have I Been Pwned, a service that we have used on several occasions. For example, we have used it to test or to demonstrate. Mostly I use it in conferences to show people what they have to do to find out if their email password was stolen. So simply in this service, you put here the email address and ask if it has been pwned. It means basically hacked. So if in this case of this person who has the email address David Pereira, then unfortunately was registered in different services, and these services have been hacked. Not the person, the services, verification, IO, Nitro, they were hacked. And well, unfortunately, this person's password was leaked. Is not the person's fault. But it is very important for you to know if the email that you use well with their password has been leaked somewhere. That is what this entire exercise is for. So as you can see here, we have the API and the API key. For this API, you have to pay. So what you're going to do is put your email right here. Then you say you are not a robot. Let's say you solve the CAPTCHA and you will get an email where you are allowed to register for Have I Been Pwned. And then I get an email where the only thing I have to do is tell you to verify my email. It will open. It will open. I show you. It will open. Another browser page where it allows me to make the payment. Look, new customer. That's right. I am a new customer. And here you make your payment. I'm going to skip this part. Well, put credit card in the whole thing, and then I'll continue showing you what is to come. Done. We already have our API for Have I Been Pwned. We are going to return to the tool. And we have to modify the configuration file. We are going to give nano to the H8 mail, and we must modify the API of Have I Been Pwned. Here we have to put blur. And well, ready, look, there is the API pasted. We're going to give Control X. We save it, we say yes. Enter. You can edit the file with your favorite editor. A very important thing with this tool is that if you want to use this configuration file that we just modified, then for the query we have to tell it -C. And what is the configuration file, which in this case is the H8 mail config. You have to tell it which is the configuration file, because otherwise it will not use it. Look at, it will use the default file or the default configuration that would only show us is Sela, and it does not give us any result, as you can see. Instead, if I tell that the configuration file -C is H8 mail, has H8 mail config in, and we'll look at, let's see the difference. There it is, perfect. Look, tells us Sela. Well, with Sela, nothing was found. Here he found 9 breaches for David Pereira at gmail.com. Here it is. Here it shows them to us. This is the one for Have I Been Pwned. This is, well, here we can see each of the services that it consulted. It consulted Sela and it consulted Have I Been Pwned. And it also searched the public search, the link lookup, that we uncommented. Now I'll show you, just in case. Then look here, we can see a little bit of what are the leaks. For some reason, it's not showing me. So nice, my screen does not let me see them. But look, here it is. In Have I Been Pwned, found a leak of this email at Clear Voice Surveys, at PDL, at Zactus, at Lead Hunter, at Nitro, at Reverse City Media, at S Daily, at Verifications. IO, all those sites were hacked, had their information stolen. And among the information stolen was the password to that email. So well, is a problem for lead lookup. It also found that this email stole the password to the following sites: Clearboy Surveys, Email to Name, Fitbit, Gunitro, Onliner, Spambot, and Verification, IO. Then, already we would know that if our account of mail, because we have used it in a site that has been hacked, because with these tools, we could detect it very easily. You can continue the process simply and plainly. Then editing or configuring the file of the tool. And well, you simply go adding the services that you want. Look, at this moment, we have Hunter.io, we have I Been Pound, and we have Link Lookup. Can you look at, for example, Email Rep for hashing? Dhash is also very interesting, but you have to pay for it as well. I think the one for hashing, you have to pay for it, has an API as well, right? Then you would have to pay for it. I don't know how much it costs. I paid $3 for. Have I Been Pwned? I don't know how much it is costing. For example, this one. Let's see. If we are going to say 100 queries, well, it's not so expensive. Look at $2.50 for 100 queries. Then you can acquire the API of this entity, or for example, that of Intel Xkey. And you can use the tool. So as you can see, it becomes a very interesting tool for you to know how secure your password is. If that password that you are using already was leaked, someone managed to steal it, etc. So it's one more mechanism to be able to have a much higher level of security. Here you have other commands that you could use. For example, you could do queries of email lists. Even well, you can do queries against a local database, etc. The invitation is for you to try the tool, to make different practices, and then tell me how it worked out for you. Well, very well then. I truly hope you found it quite interesting. As always, please take care, stay healthy, never stop learning, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.